What's up, guys? Time to show off a build going out to one of my buddies. So, I'm going to have to remember what this dial number is. So this is actually a Vostok mod. Most of mine are builds where I'm working off of that platform. But this is a specific Amphibia dial that comes in a 120 case. I think that's an 860, but I can't remember offhand. That was transplanted over into a polished 110. And as you all may know, who are in the Vostok world, you can't really buy movements by themselves now. So most of the time, if you're wanting to do something like this, you're going to have to buy a 110 build, you're going to have to buy a 120 build, and then just swap everything over because you cannot buy its own individual movement. So this has a set of Vostok 24 hands in there. You got some black paddles with a custom red and black seconds hand. We did the polished 110 case. We have a small coin bezel, and then this is one of the DLW ceramic inserts. And what's really cool with this ceramic insert is that different lights, like right there, it almost looks like it is silver. But it's obviously black. So, minute style insert. You have a nice milled crown. We did a custom milled solid caseback. You have a beads of rice style 22 that tapers down to a 20 at the clasp band. You have your polished up the middle, and you have your brushed on the, I wanted to say end links, but that's clearly not end links. Just on the outside of the band, you have brushed. Your double lock clasp is brushed as well. If you ever nick this, just open this up and then get it away from the rest of it and use the green side of a Scotch-Brite and go one direction, one pass, straight down, and you'll brush your scratch back in. Don't get it close to this because you don't want to like mar up your polish. That said, with this build, which you've seen, I've had this microfiber with me the whole time. That's because it is so easy to fingerprint the polish and fingerprint the ceramic. So this is me just touching it without touching it. You'll also have one of your Cape Cod cloths in here. I just cut a little square off and then go directly onto the case, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And normally takes about 2 minutes. But if you get any hairline scratches on your polish, that's what you're going to want to do. If you get it on your brushed, you just want to make sure you're covering your polish and use that green side of a Scotch-Brite and brush it back in. But that is the build. It came out pretty awesome. This small coin is on pretty tight. The guy who does these, the tension rings that these come with are so nice. And have a really good tension to them. You've got a rotor in the back, you just can't see it. This is an automatic mechanical, it's a 2416B. So you've got your little date window there. I don't do too many things with date windows, but to show off how date window works, if you're not going to be very active, make sure you wind it a little bit before you put it on because it is only powered by the movement of the rotor. So if you're not going to be active, you don't want to just set your time and throw it on because if you're not active, it's going to stop running. And then it's going to run a little bit when you move and it's going to stop. So pre-wind it just a little bit. Back the crown off the threads until you can hear it and feel it clicking. At that point you can wind. And a wind is like this. Winding it back and forth is how I do it. Just keeps my finger spacing out nicely, and if I start to thread it on, I can back it right back off, and then put a little tension on there and continue to wind. 4 or 5 seconds of this will keep your time throughout the day mixed with your rotor. If you're going to be driving at a desk, etc., and not going to be very active, make sure you do it for another 10 seconds or so. You've got a 31-hour power reserve in it. You cannot overwind it. Let me check the date. Okay, Google, what's today's date?
It's Monday, May 20th, 2024.
May 20th. All right, so in order to show you how to utilize the date wheel, I'm going to have to advance it, which, if you're actually concerned with what the date is on it, you're going to want to wait a little bit or advance it 30 days forward. But to show off how to set your date, when you pull it to the one and only click, you can set your time. So what will happen here is when you get it to 12 o'clock and it's at night, which it is, you've got your 23 right there. If you want to advance that to 24, there's no quick date set. You're literally going to wind it back to 8. And as you get around 9 o'clock, you're going to see that the 23 starts going up, and then it drops back down. Okay? It drops back down at 8 o'clock. At that point, you can advance it, and it will advance to 24. So 12 to 8 is how you want to do it. If you ever go backwards and you've seen it happen, you've advanced it back to 12, and it stayed the same date. This doesn't happen very often, but if that ever happens to you, don't do it again, because you will get that date wheel off track. Literally do a 24-hour forward, and it will kick it forward, and then you can go back to 12 to 8. I've only seen it happen a couple times, and both times that it's happened, both times they have tried it once more with the quick date set, and then it's completely off, and it doesn't even make the click noise anymore. It doesn't move at all. It will just stay whatever date you have it on. I'm not really sure why that is. As you've seen, like the rest of like all my builds, I don't use the date wheel. I actually take off all that gearing. But this dial is set up that way. I just don't do too much of it. So that's your quick date set. It is an 8 to 12 or 24 hour. There's no first click, second click scenario where you can just advance it by itself like 95% of the rest of the watches. So that's how that works. So you're on the 24th. I know the days of the 20th, but in order to go get you back on the 20th, we're going to have to advance it another 26 days. Or it's going to be in the mail for you for a couple days, not really running, and by the time you get it, it'll be about the 23rd, and you can just, you'll get yourself worked back in fairly quickly. What I end up doing is, instead of being in the PM, since you have no idea, I just reverse it back to the AM so that over time the watch catches up with the date. Or you can sit there and spin it all around, which is what I have to do on my high-end builds. But that is the build, man. Okay, Google, what time is it? 1:37 p.m. Push it over, get it out of that time setting, and wind it down. That, sir, is your build. As with every build, you're going to get matching beads. This is going to come in a black BVW Special Edition 3D printed box. This will come with a microfiber, specifically the one that I've been holding. This is good to buff out anything you've got going on with your watch, because you're going to get watch cleaner, which is the foamer that's good on all glass and metal, so this watch as a whole, non-streaking, non-toxic, non-residue. As I referenced before, you're going to get a Cape Cod cloth. Don't pull the whole thing out and use it. Just cut out little pieces. And then keep this in like a baggie or something, because you'll lose moisture. And I think to regain it, you can add some water, but don't take my word for that. I keep this in a baggie after I open mine to make sure that they still stay like, it's kind of like when you buy like the wipes from like O'Reilly's or something for like your leather and stuff. Same kind of scenario. You wouldn't leave it in your car opened, it's going to dry out. So kind of same thing. So that's for your polish. And then lastly, you're going to get some fine scratch remover. This is Novus 2 from Amazon, just repackaged. It's like Polywatch. It's for your acrylic glass because you can scratch it. If you do, you'll use a tiny bit of this and your color matching microfiber to buff it out or buff it in. A little bit will go a long way. And if the scratch still remains, wait a little bit, let that solidify, and then go at it again. You just want to make sure that you're not removing what you have put in. So I will get this packed up for you, buddy. Thank you so much for waiting. That DLW insert literally came in today. They are actually pretty quick on sending them to me, which is nice. So if you want me to build you something custom and unique, reach out and I'll see what I can do. And if you want to continue to see videos like this, like and subscribe as I put them up all the time. Thanks, guys.